Welcome to Sportpen.
Hey there.
Today, we are diving deep into, well, a really fascinating and, let's face it, complex question. What defines greatness in sports?
It's a huge topic.
It really is. And we're going to use one of the most, I guess, extraordinary and definitely controversial careers in baseball history as our main lens, Barry Bonds.
Yep, a perfect case study in many ways.
We're going to trace the big moments, the drive, the performances that really made him a legend.
And we'll be pulling from all the material you sent over to really get a handle on not just his story, but also, other things like team dynamics, performance factors, societal stuff. It all plays a part.
Exactly. Our mission here is to pull out the key insights from these sources, try to understand what really makes for exceptional performance and, legacy in this, well, complicated world of sports.
Sounds good. So, Bonds, where do we start? His early days.
Yeah, let's start there. I mean, his journey kicked off way before the majors. He was a prep All-American in high school, hitting something like .404. Just incredible numbers.
Yeah, over 3 varsity seasons. And he was actually drafted by the Giants right out of high school, wasn't he?
He was, but he decided to go the college route instead. Ended up at Arizona State University.
ASU. And he made a splash there pretty quickly, too. Tied an NCAA record as a sophomore, I think.
That's right. Which led to him getting drafted again, this time by the Pirates, 6th overall in '85.
Okay, so then the minor leagues. Prince William, Hawaii Islanders.
Yeah.
Not exactly the bright lights straight away.
No, definitely paying some dues. But even then, people were noticing something different. The sources mentioned how the ball just jumped off his bat, his strength, that super compact swing, his patience.
Yeah, that ability to wait on the pitch. And there's that great story about Branch Rickey III, the Pirates player development guy.
Oh, yeah. Tell us that one.
Well, apparently Rickey was kind of questioning Bonds' power during batting practice. So Bonds just, supposedly starts hitting homer after homer over the right field wall on command.
Just like that.
Pretty much. Then Rickey asked to see some go over left field. And Bonds just does it again, turns around and says, "How's that?"
That's confidence.
Or maybe arrogance, depending on how you look at it. The story goes he never took another minor league BP after that.
Wow. But it wasn't all smooth, right? There's mention of a manager in Class A, Ed Ott.
Yeah, apparently there was an incident there, maybe a lesson in humility needed. It points to that early perception. Amazing talent, but maybe potentially problematic attitude-wise.
It seems like a recurring theme we might see.
It does seem to follow him a bit. He gets called up to the Pirates in '86. And he pretty quickly shows he's way more than just a power guy.
Right. He was the whole package, wasn't he? Hit for average, stole bases, great outfielder, strong arm.
Exactly. A true five-tool player. And the awards started piling up pretty fast MVPs with Pittsburgh, Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, All-Star games.
He won 2 MVPs there before that huge move to the Giants in '93.
Yeah, the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
And that contract was massive for the time, right? Over $43 million for 6 years.
Huge deal. Really showed how much they valued him individually.
And he delivered immediately for them. First year in SF, .336 average, 46 homers, 123 RBIs, wins his second straight MVP. Just dominant.
But here's the interesting part from a team angle. They win 103 games that year and still miss the playoffs.
Ouch. That's got to sting. And that kind of became a pattern for a while, didn't it?
It did. His first 4 years there, despite him putting up monster numbers, averaging almost 40 homers, hitting over .300 most years, the team just couldn't get over the hump into the postseason.
You got to remember, the '94 strike wiped out a big chunk of that era, too. Who knows what might happen that year? Gwynn chasing .400, Matt Williams challenging the home run record.
Right, that strike disrupted everything. So the Giants finally make it back to the playoffs in '97.
Yep, but then they get swept by the Marlins in the first round.
And the sources point out Bonds didn't exactly light it up in that series, hitting just .250, no homers, which fed that narrative about him maybe underperforming in the postseason at times.
Yeah, that criticism definitely existed alongside the incredible regular season numbers.
Okay, so let's move into the period where his performance just went stratospheric, late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, things really shifted up a gear. The 2000 season itself was amazing, career bests in slugging. 49 homers, led the league in walks.
But 2001, I mean, what even was that? It was just unreal.
Totally off the charts. He hits his 500th homer early in the year, then just explodes.
28 homers in the first 50 games, 17 in May alone. That's video game stuff.
He had 39 by the All-Star break, which was a record. And then, of course, he breaks a single-season record, finishes with 73.
The moment he hit number 71 off Chan Ho Park, iconic.
Absolutely. But it wasn't just the 73 homers. It was how pitchers reacted. Remember that stretch the sources mentioned? 51 balls out of 64 pitches.
They just stopped pitching to him, basically walking him intentionally or unintentionally almost every time up.
Exactly. That level of dominance where you force the entire strategy of the game to change around you, that's rare air. That shows a different kind of greatness.
He set records that year for walks, 177, and on-bet percentage, .515. And that slugging percentage, .863. Highest since, like, the 40s.
Just mind-boggling numbers. And later on, he passes his godfather, Willie Mays, with his 660th homer. Another huge moment, especially in San Francisco.
Plus, he became the only player ever with a 500 homers and 500 stolen bases. The 500-500 club, just him.
When you look at the career totals, 762 home runs, all-time record. 2,558 walks, record. 688 intentional walks, record. And then the advanced stats like wins above replacement.
Right, WAR, which tries to capture total value.
Yeah, and by those measures, he's ranked right behind Babe Ruth, according to Baseball Reference and Fangraphs. Just immense value over his career.
Add in the record 7 MVPs, the 12 Silver Sluggers. Statistically, the case is overwhelming. He's one of the greatest ever, period.
The numbers are undeniable.
But there's always the but with Bonds, isn't there? We have to talk about the controversy, the Belisaut investigation.
Right. That broke shortly after the 2003 season. Babalsko, this Bay Area lab, supposedly making undetectable steroids.
And Bonds' personal trainer, Greg Anderson, was linked, along with the founder, Victor Conte. They were the main targets.
And Bonds gets called before a federal grand jury in late 2003.
The leaked testimony suggested he admitted using stuff from his trainer, the Cream, the Clear, but claimed he thought it was like flaxseed oil and arthritis balm.
Anderson and Conte eventually made deals, but didn't have to name names. Still, Bonds himself was indicted later, in 2007. Perjury, obstruction of justice charges, alleging he lied to the grand jury.
That legal process went on for years, didn't it?
It did. Perjury charges dropped. He was convicted on obstruction in 2011, but even that was overturned on appeal in 2015. So legally, he was cleared in the end.
But the damage to his reputation, he became the poster child for PED use in baseball for many people, media, politicians.
Absolutely, he became this huge symbol. But the sources also raise an interesting point. The really strong negative feelings towards him, especially from sports writers, maybe weren't just about the Baltoka stuff.
What do you mean, like it started earlier?
Yeah, there's talk about how, even compared to other athletes with controversies, the negativity around Bonds seemed deeper. Some sources mention he lived a relatively quiet life off the field. Yet, there was that quote from a Pirates teammate way back saying everybody in the clubhouse wanted to beat up on him sometimes.
So there was friction even before the PED era.
It seems like it. Maybe rooted in perceptions of, I don't know, laziness or lack of hustle, even though people close to him often disputed that. During the record chases, the media narrative really focused on his personality, charming superstar or selfish malcontent, that kind of framing.
Comparing him to how maybe McGuire, Sosa, Jordan, Tiger Woods handled the spotlight.
Yeah, the perception was often that they were more gracious, maybe easier for the media and fans to connect with. It brings up that whole debate. How much should personality matter versus performance?
And then there's the question of, can you just explain away his later numbers by saying steroids?
Well, the sources caution against overly simple explanations. They use analogies like, did Babe Ruth only hit homers because of the live ball era? Did Nolan Ryan only strike guys out because they lowered the mound?
Right. It's rarely just one thing. Context matters. But that PED suspicion is clearly the main reason cited for him not being in the Hall of Fame, right? Not getting the 75% vote needed.
Yeah, numerous voters explicitly pointed to suspected PED use as their reason for voting no. So that controversy undeniably shapes his legacy and how it's debated even now.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Beyond the individual, what about the team aspect? Our sources looked at team culture too.
Yeah, definitely. It's clear. Team culture is huge. It defines what being part of that team means, and that impacts performance.
There was that case study on the Iowa State women's basketball team. They had a big jump in the rankings one season.
Right. And interviews with players and coaches revealed some common themes: leadership, coaching approach, trust, identity, being adaptable.
I remember a player quote about setting standards as a team and living up to them. That suggests real collective ownership.
Totally. And a coach mentioned leadership needing to be team-driven, not just top-down, empowering everyone, even younger players.
What was the core element, though?
Trust seems to be foundational, based on the material. Building that trust led to buy-in, created a sort of family atmosphere, shared experiences. It was central,
And the coaching.
focused on player growth, really understanding the players as people, not just athletes. It all tied together to build this strong culture.
So team culture isn't just like a vague vibe. It's actual behaviors, values, a shared mission that helps the team perform better.
Exactly. It helps everyone internalize what the team is about. Interestingly, the sources note there's actually not a ton of research specifically on this in college sports, despite examples like Iowa State showing how powerful it can be.
Fascinating. That leads nicely into the psychology of performance, which the sources also touch on, the mindset stuff,
Right, like the idea that top performers actually thrive on pressure. They use it as fuel.
instead of choking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the trusting mindset. What's that about?
It's basically the ability to just let go and perform, to trust your skills under pressure without overthinking. The sources say it's kind of a hardwired feeling we all have access to sometimes, getting out of your own way.
Makes sense, like being in the zone. What about focus?
Segmenting, thinking one pitch at a time. It's about narrowing your focus intensely on the immediate task, blocking out distractions. Apparently it works in business too, not just sports.
And routines. Pre-game or pre-performance routines.
Crucial. They help you stop evaluating yourself and just be present. But you have to practice them, condition them until they're automatic. It's not just superstition.
What else? Ignoring critics.
Yeah, the best seem to have this ability to just block out the noise and focus on what they can control, what they can do.
And finding fun in it. Treating it like exploration.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Finding joy in the process, pushing limits, exploring possibilities, even knowing you won't master it every single day. It suggests elite performance isn't just talent, it's also these practiced mental skills.
Okay, bringing it all together. The societal context. How does sport fit into the bigger picture?
Well, sport often reflects society's values, right? Like the huge emphasis on winning, on competition, that's survival of the fittest idea.
Which can have a downside.
Definitely. When winning becomes absolutely everything, the only thing, it can push people towards deviance, breaking rules. The Ken Caminiti quote in the sources about steroid use, everybody was doing it. That points to how a win-at-all-costs culture can normalize cheating.
But sport also embodies positive values, right? Hard work, striving, delaying gratification.
Oh yeah, that idea of the sport ethic mirroring the American work ethic, it's deeply ingrained.
And what about media portrayals, especially for athletes of color?
The sources touch on how media narratives can sometimes reinforce stereotypes or focus unfairly on personality flaws, questioning character even when achievements are massive. It raises questions about how we evaluate athletes. Is it purely on accomplishment, or does personality, race, or perception inevitably play a role, sometimes unfairly?
So sport isn't in a vacuum. It reflects and is shaped by all these broader societal forces and values, both good and bad.
Precisely, and those forces create pressures that influence athletes and how we, the public, see them.
Wow. So looking back at this deep dive, centered on bonds but branching out, it's clear that greatness is incredibly complex. It's not just raw talent.
Not at all. It's this mix of individual ability, sure, but also team dynamics, psychological makeup, and the whole societal backdrop they're performing against.
A really tangled web of factors.
Absolutely. And understanding all those layers gives you, hopefully, a richer appreciation for any athlete's career and how these stories become part of sports history.
So we've covered a lot of ground. What's a final thought for our listeners to chew on?
Okay, how about this? We see a sports system often driven by intense competition, this win-at-all-cost pressure cooker, reflecting broader societal values. At the same time, performance science keeps pushing boundaries. So within that system, how should we ultimately judge the legacies of athletes who reach the absolute pinnacle of success while navigating all those complex, sometimes conflicting pressures? What's the fairest way to evaluate them?
That's a heavy one. Definitely something to think about.
Indeed.
Thanks for listening to Sportpen.